still trying to accept the idea that 30 is not old.
Why does it have to be so hard?
Life is hard, right? Life is hard. It don't come with no rule book. Adulting is hard in general, but it's even extra hard when you have to break generational curses. And breaking generational curses can include breaking generational traumas, things that have happened to you, your mom, your mama's mama, your mama's mama. Okay? All right. So breaking generational curses, that can also be emotional, financial, living in poverty, being an immigrant. And basically, it's kind of like everybody in your family is looking at you. You're probably first generation in college, or probably just trying to figure out something that can help you and your family as well. It's hard. It's hard, right? Because we want a good life, but it don't come with a rule book of how we're supposed to do it. These are the lessons that I learned, and I think is so important for anybody that's growing up, especially with such circumstance, overcoming generational trauma and breaking generational curses, things that I personally wish that I would have learned early on. But then again, if I knew it, then it wouldn't be a generational curse, right? Okay. So hopefully this helps you maneuver your journey with this whole thing called adulting, all right? Whew, child. So the number one lesson I learned is that love is action. Listen, for a long time I was numb. Personally, I was numb going through all of my trauma, the things that I was going through. I was disassociated from myself and my body. And I didn't know what self-love meant, right? When I look at someone, I'm like, oh, they have self-love. I wonder what it is. Like, what's the secret? Like, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it meant to love. I stayed to myself. I was, very depressed, secluded. Like, trust me, I was not about this human life. Okay. And as I've grown older, I have come to learn that love is an action. Yeah, think about this. All right. So, there's like 5 love languages, right? I think it's like act of service, gifts, affection, quality time. What's the other one? But yeah, so there's like 5 love languages apparently. And if you notice, all of those 5 love languages is action, right? So the act of buying someone a gift because they love, gifts and it makes them feel loved. The act of service, doing something for someone. The act of showing affection to your partner, to show them that you love them. All of those 5 love languages are rooted in action. So that's what I learned, is love is really action, and self-love is about taking action, like taking the action of doing something that you've always wanted to do and didn't feel good enough, but doing it anyway. Action, taking the action to do something that's drastically different from what you've always done and how you've always felt, how you've always thought, right? So love is action. That's what I learned, and that's something that I wish I knew younger, because it would have made me practice more and step up to the table more and do more for myself, to show love for myself and also for other people as well. Number 2, sex is not dirty. Okay, things that I wish I would have known, like that's number 1. Maybe number 1. Yeah, this is number 1 for me, even though I didn't list it as number 1, because I had trauma, sexual trauma. Yeah, so to live with the psychology that sex is a bad thing, but then I'm hearing adults have sex, but it's not being explained to me. Or even, like my vagina, like my body parts, like none of that was explained to me coming from a foreign, I have foreign parents, my African parents. My mom was African, and to her, it was taught to her that sex is bad. So she was, it just trickled down to me. And I wish that I would have known more about just my body as a woman. Like, I would have known more about what it does and not to have anybody touch it. Boundaries. Like, I wish that I would have known more about just sex. trust me, I think that it would have made a difference than to have turned around when kissing scenes came on. And that was me growing up. Like, I would turn around when kissing scenes came on. So I grew up with shame around sex, and I wish that I didn't have that growing up, because it would have made me more comfortable in my skin. Even though I am comfortable in my skin, it would have been like, whoa, this girl, like, she, you know what I mean? It would have been better, because I would have known my boundaries. I would have known my sexual voice. You know, I would have known my sexual boundaries, and to not just like give my energy out to anybody that didn't care for me, or to feel pressured to do things that I didn't want to do. So that's really like number one, that I think every young woman should know about sex, how sex really is, and the fact that you do get pleasure from sex, but it also comes with consequences that when you're younger, you're not ready for it, and you just gotta wait until it is the right time. So that's something that I would say is like a lesson that I would have gave myself, or I wish that I would have had, is guidance in sex, like knowing about my body and the changes that will come and everything. Like, literally, this is a topic that is another video. So yeah, that's something I would say is sex. And rightfully so, the next one is boundaries. All right, so I wish that I knew that I could just say no to people. I wish that I knew that I could scream when someone was crossing my boundaries as a kid, especially. And I think that because that was violated for me, especially people I trusted, caretakers, family members who violated my boundaries, didn't respect it, no privacy, nothing. And you know, it's like, oh, you can't say no, you're a kid, you don't know shit, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's so hurtful, and it's something that a lot of people grow up just going through. A lot of people grow up not having a voice and feeling like their voice matters, because in their house, kids can talk, kids can have opinion, right? And I think it's very damaging, because as an adult, you should be able to say no. You should be able to feel like you don't have to people please and manipulate people by being nice, so that they can return kindness and love to you. I think that it's very powerful to know that you can say no and still feel like you're worthy of being loved and, you know, worthy of kindness. So that's something that I wish I knew. It's just like unconditional love for myself and my boundaries, and just say, hey, no, like, I'm not with this. And if you cross my boundaries, like, you're gonna have consequences, whatever that it looks like, you know what I'm saying? So that's something that I wish I knew, and I would tell young women, especially.
Look, you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it, all right? You gotta just say no. Say no.
Say no. And if he ain't backing off, find a bottle, find whatever hard thing that you can get and break the hell out of his walnut ass head. Whoever is bothering you, all right? No, I don't condone violence, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So the next thing that I wish I knew growing up was to learn about money, how to make money, how to save money. I think that's the most important thing for me, was how to save money, and also how to manage money in general. Like, I don't think there's any other way that I could explain it, but I think that's one thing I wish I really knew growing up, was, you know, was about the bread, about the moolah. And then the next thing, which is very important, I think, that I wish I knew growing up, was work ethic. Work ethic and structure. I think work ethic comes with structure. As an adult, I'm more so of like a free, like, you know, when I catch the inspiration. But a career choice I chose, which is the creative and the medias and the entertainment, it don't come with whenever you feel like it, an inspiration. Like, it do, but it don't. To be an artist and to want to be an artist that gets paid and has a career out of it, you have to be structured. You have to structure your creativity, which is really hard, but at the same time, it's the only way to have a business, right? Because if you want to be in the creative business, it's a business at the end of the day, even though it's creative. And I think that that's something I'm working on. It's one of my weaknesses, but I do understand, right? You know, when you're not structured, it's very, very, very easy to fall into procrastination and not really reach your goal because you're just like always all over the place, right? So that's something that I wish I knew growing up, the power of structure, you know, being organized. And I think just for me, as a kid, you know, I wish I went to dance classes and all those extracurricular activity classes to help me. You know, I had those, but it wasn't really like that, like I would have wanted, right? So now when I put a schedule on something, it's really hard for me to just like to do it. But I'm really trying really hard. And I think that's the secret to success, really, is knowing how to be disciplined, how to be structured, and how to have work ethic, because it don't matter what you look like, whatever, you deserve everything in life. And everything comes to you when you work for it, and how much energy really that you put into it, how much intent you put into it. So yeah, that's one thing. The next thing is self-worth. When I say self-worth, I'm talking about self-acceptance. I'm talking about specifically self-connection, to be connected with yourself. So kind of like how I was talking about boundaries, you wouldn't know what's your boundaries if you're not connected with yourself. If you're not aware of how worthy you are, the fact that you being alive is so amazing. And, you know, it's a proof that you are also like just a magical being, you know what I'm saying? Just like everybody else woke up today, and we have the gift of life. Not some people didn't wake up today. Some people didn't even make it through the morning. But if you are every single day, you're aware that you're alive, I think that in itself is just something to know that it makes you worthy to experience everything you want to experience, right? So knowing that you deserve something, knowing that you are important to the world and how things flow. As long as we have life, we have a purpose. As long as we have life, we have meaning, right? And it's something that I'm still grasping my head around. But I think most of it is having self-connection, knowing your voice, knowing your desires, knowing the things that makes you tick, knowing the things that makes you all types of way and insecure, or, you know, whatever, and accepting it and having connection with that, being connected with yourself, is really the most amazing thing. Like, it's all about knowing yourself, you know what I mean? Really knowing yourself, like from a third person perspective, looking at you and be like, yo, I'm fly, I'm lit, you know what I'm saying? It really, that's all that is. So I can't stress that enough. Is any young girl that's out there feeling any type of way to be connected with yourself, and to not be afraid, be connected with yourself. We're almost there. So the next thing I wish I would have known was that college is not necessary. College is not necessary, honestly, because there's a lot of people who already know what they want to do. And that's the thing. If you know yourself, you're connected with yourself, you know what you like, you know what you want to do, and you go on with it, right? But a lot of people, obviously younger people, were caught up with the world, trying to be pretty, trying to fit in, trying to, you know, just figure out like life in general. And when you don't have the guidance in life, it's really easy for you to just go on and go in the wrong directions. But I think that if I were to guide and be a mentor for someone who is younger, and for my younger self, I would say, like, you already know what you want to do. You want to do media, entrepreneurship. I would have either did a different major, because I majored in African American Studies, Women and Gender Studies, and music. I think that I would have focused more on the skill sets of it. I would have picked a program that maybe, you know, minored in one of those fields, and then pick something that would have helped my computer skills, my design skills, all of that. So that's one thing that I really wish that I did differently in college. But other than that, all of those things are things you can learn online. Like, I'm learning these things now, and I'm 50,000 in debt in college, right? But when you don't know what you want to do, and especially my position, I didn't have, like, I needed to get out of my situation, and college was my way out. And for some people, college is their way out, especially first generation people, right? Because that institution helps us, that structure helps us, that whether it's even the student loans helps us get out of our situation, it helps us make connections, right? And that's the thing that I would say is the most important thing about college, is the connections that you'll make for the rest of your life. And for me, I use college to study abroad, to travel, like, and I made connections from that, like, in itself, right? So that's something that I would say, if you're going to college, know that the most part about college is making connections, straight up. And then use it for something, either learning a skill, but yeah, that's what I would say for the most part. Have community. Community is so important. For me, growing up, I was the only kid for a very long time. As a child, I always asked my mom, like, "Can I have more kids? I need to murder a sister. I need people to play with. Like, why? La, 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 la." I was always going around trying to find someone to play with because I was so bored. And, at some point, I just found myself just talking to myself, pretending like I was this and I was that, and a teacher, and literally playing with myself. I had to relearn relationships all over again. I had to relearn what it meant to love, to be there with, for someone, to be in a group setting, in a social setting. Because I was so hurt and traumatized, and I was going through depression a whole lot, I withdrew myself, like, from people, right? And I always thought, I could do bad all by myself. I don't need anyone. You know what I'm saying? People don't care for me. But really, that changed when I met my friends, like, when people who went out their way to help me, to provide support. And that's when I really started to change my mindset and to ask for help. Because guess what? No one is ever self-made. The person that made a call to the other person that does this, that helped you do that person just helped you in your journey, right? And the person that gave you a couch to sleep on, the person that did this and that, like, no one is ever self-made. Community is so important. Like, humans are annoying as hell, but you can't go anywhere without connections. You can't go nowhere without having people in your corner and community and support. So I think that wherever you can and whatever interests you have, it's raining. Whatever you can do, whatever interest that you have, try your best to form genuine connections with people who like the same things that you like and care about the same things you care about, because community is important. And the last but not least, 30 is young, so have patience. Listen, this is me telling you this, all right? This is me still trying to accept the idea that 30 is not old, okay? And I've seen so many people, when they reach 30 or almost reaching 30, find success, peace, so many good things. And I think about that lady that wrote Harry Potter. She didn't write it until she was like 40 something. But guess what? I ain't trying to be struggling until I'm 40 something. I'm just saying that. God, you hear me? Oh, God, please. Oh. Yes, but 30 is young. I just turned 26, September 11th. I just turned 26. And I'm over here like, bruh, I said I wanted to do music. Okay, I'm still an artist, but I thought I was gonna be touring by 26, okay, or I'll already be doing some other things, right? I thought I was gonna be probably have a good. Listen, I thought I was just gonna be in a good career, have a good career, probably have a house, have my life together somehow, somewhere. Like, I thought that I would be in a better place than I am now. And what life has taught me is that, listen, that all of the shit that you want and you want to accomplish by a certain age, it don't come just because. you, first of all, you have to learn, you have to work for those things. And second of all, you have to allow the universe to reward you no matter how many hours and work that you put in. Really, you have to just be patient for your time to come, because if you're putting in work, and someone like Bree Runway, I don't know if y'all know Bree Runway, she's been doing music for years, you know, music politics. She's just now getting her flowers, and it hasn't even reached the peak yet, right? So that's very inspirational for me, because she's been working for a long time, and she's probably had the doubts like, yeah, I should give up, but no, she didn't give up, and that's admirable, right? Someone, for me, like personally, I'm 26, I haven't achieved as close to the things that I thought that I would achieve and I wanted to achieve, but I'm not going to give up. And at the end of the day, I have to reframe my mindset about time, and thinking that time is against me, and I have to do these things now. Like, you know what I mean? So that's really what I have to say in terms of things that I've learned, like, or things that I wish I learned growing up. Like, these are essentials, right? These are essentials. Like, learn about money, learn how to pay your bills on time. Like, sis, you know what I'm saying? Auto pay, like, all of those things are so essential to being a whole rounded adult, like a well-rounded adult. You know what I'm saying? Taking action to care for yourself, to love yourself. It's all about action, all of those things. So I really hope that this kind of gave you an insight on just how to maneuver around life, and especially adulting. Because most of us don't have it together. And then the few of us that have it together, okay? Whew. But honestly, what does it mean to have it together as an adult? What does it mean to have it together? I need you to comment below. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Peace and love. Until next time, it's your girl, Laura. Bye.